Well everyone, that was a quick demonstration of some of the features that are contained within the Mighty Excavator set, which is LEGO Technic set 42006, which is new for 2013. Now, I've never actually built or bought a Technic set before, excluding Bionicle sets. So the reason I'm doing this review is because there's some really interesting features that come as a part of this set, and I really wanted to show them to everyone just so you could get an idea about the luxurious world of LEGO Technic. Now immediately this Technic box caught my eye, simply because of its very large size, and its strange opening method. This has to be one of the very few LEGO boxes I've ever seen that has this hinged opening method, and if there's anyone out there who's actually got any of the other Technic sets of this size, I'd love for you to let me know if your Technic box is open like this too. On the back we put a very good explanation of all the different features of the model, indication that there's another model that can be built, and of course what adding the power functions to your model can actually do. This is something which I think is very exciting. However, I find the power functions box set is actually quite difficult to find in Australia at sometimes. So if we open up the very large box, we can see that we get two instruction booklets, like so. Now, straight away, there's something I had to point out, and that was that there were no numbered bag systems with this Technic set. All of the hundreds of pieces that went into it had to be opened all at once, and that kind of disappointed me, seeing that on the easier sets, LEGO's installed a bag system, but on these really complex sets where you can spend forever searching for a piece, they haven't done so. So I'd really like to see LEGO implement the bag system numbering in the future. Now the next thing you're going is, wow, there's a lot of spare parts. And it's true, there are a lot of spare parts. But if we look at the end of the instruction booklet, we can see a very cool feature by LEGO. They've actually included the power functions instructions in the normal instruction kit, which personally I think is something that's really good of LEGO, rather than you having to go online. However, that's where it ends with the instructions being good. Because that second model that I showed you on the back of the box is actually only available if you download the instructions from the internet. Now, downloading instructions from the internet's okay if it's for a smaller set, but when it's for a Technic set like this, which I'm not gonna lie, took me 3 or 4 hours to build intermittently, it's very frustrating to have to look up at a computer screen, go down, find the complex parts, put them together, and then go back to your computer. And I think that in these kind of really complex sets, you need to be given a paper version of the instructions because it simply gets too complicated to try and use the online instructions. So there's a mark against this set's name, so that makes 2. I must say that the instructions they've given are very clear, they're very concise, and they're very well laid out. I like how the stickers actually have numbers on the sticker sheet so that you knew where to apply them, and that was very handy, especially when you have these kind of stickers on the back, which sometimes you go, oh, I'm not exactly sure where they go. So overall, the box was quite well designed, as are the actual instructions that you're given. However, I would have liked to see the instructions for the other set included in this set as well. Okay, now it's time to get past the boring part. So here you can see a bit of a size comparison between our Dalek figure here and the rest of the model. Now, it's actually not too bad. Like, well, it's obviously clearly not minifigure scale, but the Dalek almost fits inside the cabin. However, it's clearly not designed for minifigures. However, this is a very large model, and that's something I really appreciate. I mean, here, look, this is my hand, and my hand fits over this huge, complex frame part. Now, I must say, the build of this was difficult because I haven't done a build like this before, but I actually enjoyed it. And this is probably going to sound really weird for you LEGO fans out there. I actually don't enjoy building the LEGO sets very much. I actually much rather playing with them when they're finished, and I actually found building all the Galaxy Squad sets, which I'll be reviewing shortly, was actually very tedious and frustrating because I just wanted to have the spaceships and go. However, this, because of its different nature, it was repetitive, but it was complicated and it was interesting, rather than simple, you know, brick, 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 repeat, brick, brick, brick. Yeah, this actually engaged me a lot more as a build. So I highly recommend these for people who really enjoy the actual building of a LEGO set. Now, it's a very detailed model. As you can see, we've got even stuff like, the control levers in the cab, got lights, we've got these soft plasticky Lego bits that can curve to make up the rest of the cabin. We've got these large treads, which, as I can show you, do actually move. Well, they do move, they're on a soft surface. That was one thing I was going to leave to the negative section, but we might as well put it all together. These tracks do move, as you can see, like this. However, they don't move very well on hard surfaces. As you can see, they don't really want to move. So that's a little bit of a letdown. However, I still think that on soft surfaces, these look very, very cool. And I did a very good job of putting on these Caterpillar tracks, which are very realistic. And of course, you've got all the mechanisms that you see in the digger arms, from these kind of distinctive shapes to the large Lego cylinder pieces, which are very interesting. And as you can see, they've done quite a good job of covering up all the workings from the inside. Obviously, there's this exposed section on the top, but if anything, that adds to the very mechanical nature of the set, so I don't think that's a problem. The only thing I think is sometimes that this part down the bottom looks a little bit exposed, especially through here, through where the gear train is and all that kind of stuff, but apart from that, I think I can live with it. Now, the main thing is this has a lot of very cool features. The first, as you saw, was the rolling Caterpillar tracks. The second is the 360-degree movement of the cabin. And then, of course, we've got the very clever functions of this set. Now, we've actually got some switches here. Now, you can see there's stickers. So, very cleverly of Lego, they've included stickers to let you know how to control the different functions. So, if we switch this way to start off with, we can see it controls this part of the crane, which is controlled by this cylinder, which is turned by this rod, which goes down through here, through these gears, and through the complex stuff that goes on here. I don't even want to try and explain it. So you can see when I turn this, a screw mechanism inside here pulls this steel rod in and pulls the arm of the digger forward. If I switch this switch, we can see this red part moves and locks into this gear. That means I can move this big cylinder here. So now I'm compressing the cylinder to move the digger arm down. And the final switch, where we put this in the middle, and we can switch this to the side, and now we can engage the claw. And now we can see that with the single same shaft, we're controlling 3 different parts of the digger, which I think is really, really clever, and there's a lot of very cool Technic pieces in here for those of you who like to mock. So would I recommend this very large set to others? Well, it does have a reasonably high price, I would assume. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I will include it in the description. But I think it'd be around the $80 mark. So I think that's quite expensive for a Lego set. However, you do get a lot for it. I think this is definitely one of those sets where you get a lot of value for your money because of the huge amount of parts you get and the amount of mocking that people can do and make your own creations. There are simply so many different things you can do with the parts in this set, especially if you incorporate them with other Technic sets you may already own. However, I think that this set really depends on whether you like to enjoy the build of a set versus the actual playability of the set. Because of the fact that there's not really a theme, I mean, there's only so much playability you can have. Especially because the Technic models, rather than actually being a consistent scale, they're much like Creator. The scale changes all the time. And so you can't really have coherent play with the multiple different models because you have this excavator, and then you have another excavator which is half the size, because of the fact it's designed to be a cheaper set. So I think this is much more of a make and display kind of set rather than a playing set, but I think it has a lot of cool things that you can do with it. However, I must say that although I'm considering investing in some more Technic just because I really enjoyed the way this all went together, and I think it's really cool the way you can pick up real objects and all that kind of stuff. If you're not the kind of person who enjoys the really complex Lego building and enjoys kind of looking at your models and appreciating your models, and you just want to get in there and have a battle between good and evil, then I would actually say probably keep away from this set and go for something like the cheaper Galaxy Squad and all the themed sets that Lego does, or even Hero Factory, which I'm a big fan of. And rather, those of you out there who like to build sets and like to enjoy the construction and the workings of the sets, such as these pneumatic parts, those are the kind of people who should get this set. So if you've got any questions about how this set works, please let me know. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And thanks for watching this short, condensed kind of Technic review. And that's all we've got time for now from TrainzXtreme.